Hey, Rolling 20 fans, this is G, and I'm here to tell you today about a new sponsor for our show, Casey's Irish Pub. This is an honest-to-God Boston or Chicago-style Irish pub located in downtown Los Angeles. They serve cooked food, 11 kinds of beer, and 49 different Irish whiskeys from 3 different distilleries. What does that mean? That means if you're looking for a good drink during a Los Angeles convention, you don't have to go far. If you're headed to Los Angeles for E3, Kamikaze, Anime Expo, the Los Angeles Car Show, or one of the hundreds of events happening near the Staples Center, then a good meal and a glass of Guinness is just a short walk away. Jeremy, the loud guy who won't shut up when we do our own podcast, he actually ate there during the last Anime Expo, and he said this. Forgive me if I don't sound like the guy. I went to Casey's Pub looking for a place to bring people for a good night of food and found it when I was driving people on my way back to the Los Angeles Convention Center. We went back and I had the best steak pot pie in my life down there. My wife had a good whiskey to sip, and 8 of us had fun talking and eating in a place that looked like it belonged in a movie. Casey's just a couple of blocks from the Westin Bonaventure. That means it's close to one of Anime Expo's own shuttle stops. We're even hosting a photo shoot there during the 2014 Anime Expo. If you want more details on that, email us at mspfreight@yahoo.com. Hey, so do yourself a favor. And don't stock up on bad beer and try to mix something sitting at the desk of your hotel room. Ride the elevator, get off at the Bonaventure, and walk to Casey's Irish Pub to get some drinks by their bartenders. Make some new memories and have some fun. We want to see you there.
Hello, everybody. This is Anthony Bjarnes from a Mission Start podcast, and tonight we have a slew of people that went, attended, and survived Comic-Con in all of its glory. Tonight with me, joining me for this podcast is Brendan.
Hello.
Jeremy.
Hi.
And it seems that Jeremy's been possessed by Dracula. And rounding out the group tonight is Jesse.
I think Jeremy missed his shots.
Or his pills.
Yes.
No, I'd say I was pretty even on my shot.
So, gentlemen, you've been to the front lines. You've seen the war stories. Tell me, how was this year's Comic-Con?
Well, as you heard, I got into a little trouble over at the Marriott Marquis Marina that I'm not supposed to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Okay, duly noted.
Fortunately, she fell down.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, indeed. Indeed. But aside from that, what other things did you guys went and explored?
I saw lots of lines and lots of crowds.
It would take less time to tell you what we didn't do, frankly.
What didn't you do?
The Vikings experience, the Gotham, what do you call it, the zip line, the Simpsons experience out back, and yeah, I guess that's about it, really.
Was it because of the lines that were long for it, or?
Part of it was part of it had to do with the lines. The other part was a certain amount of lack of interest when it came to The Simpsons. Zip lines I don't have much luck with because they generally have weight limits that I don't fit into.
I see. I see.
And the Vikings experience was nothing more than a lapse in my memory. You know, by the time I thought about it on Sunday, they were already packing stuff up.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. So, what did you guys check out or manage to see? I know I saw the pictures you were tweeting out from the panels, Jeremy. The some of the panels you checked out, and was very jealous when I saw those.
Yeah, I was abusing Instagram like it was redheaded.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that was. Tell me about how were the panels? Like, how did that go?
I didn't go to many panels simply because I kept my focus pretty generalized and was trying to look around at the outside events going on around Comic-Con. I only went to a couple on the first day regarding the Marvel's Avengers Now initiative and the Axis event upcoming, I think this fall.
Okay.
That was kind of trippy, and I think I actually managed to piss off Rick Remender to a certain degree.
How did you manage that?
They opened up a Q&A session when it came to Axis, and about halfway through the Q&A period, I got to the mic, and I actually asked him, our crew had basically read a lot of his comics leading up to this. We read Uncanny X-Force, where the Apocalypse Twins were introduced. We read the beginning of Uncanny Avengers, where the Red Skull started his transformation into the Red Onslaught. And there's been an ongoing story about the Apocalypse Twins in Uncanny Avengers that's been taking most of the first 23 issues of the book. So I wanted to know, when it came to Axis and how it leads into this, did he sit down in front of Marvel editors and talk about ideas building on top of ideas, or did he just tell them, look, I got an idea for a story. It's going to take me 7 years to finish. And half the panel kind of did a double take and just had that expression like, holy shit, he called him out.
Oh, shit. Yo, that's... wow. That's interesting. So...
Remender talked to me like an artist, talking about his art. I'm not sure he understood the joke.
That's hilarious. Were they was the crowd how did they react? Were they like, oh shit?
There was this weird undercurrent of laughter as if they wanted to, but they didn't quite make it.
Wow. So it just came off like you were trying to point him out on something. That's great. Wow, that's awesome. But I assume that he spoke his opinion and that.
Yeah, he basically explained that they were ideas building off ideas. This wasn't one long ball idea that he suddenly developed.
Okay, that's cool. That's awesome. Some of the things I've been noticing on the outside, it like all the announcements I've been hearing out of Comic-Con, I think last weekend, I was trying to pleased about. A lot of which, it's kind of surprising, the fact that there's already they already confirmed the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 already for next year, and even have a date already. The Uncharted movie already has a date, and did they show a trailer of that, by the way, when they were there, or anything of that nature, just out of curiosity?
Not aware of anything.
I don't think they've casted anything, so I don't think there's anything to show a trailer of.
Interesting. But generally, I know you guys they were in the front lines, or kind of going through Comic-Con trying to see what you can get. But were you able to kind of hear what the announcements were coming out, during the con, or was it more or less you guys didn't find out until getting back to the hotel and looking up the updates?
You might as well just get back to the hotel and check out the updates. In my case, I wouldn't want to risk trying to get a decent connection inside that building.
I see. Okay. Gotcha.
I was going to say the crowd noise can be kind of intense too, so you could have someone right next to you talking about some weird exclusive, and you may hear every third word. Unless you follow them, you're not going to understand what they said.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, that is true though. That is true, especially during panels that are very packed. If one person is talking and is say something exciting, you hear a third of it through before the entire audience just start yelling and go nuts.
Yeah, but who wants to be the creepy stalker following them around while they're trying to finish their sentence? Did somebody just roll a dice? What the frick was that?
Oh, that really came through the mic? Wow, that's awesome.
Loudly.
I just rolled a 20-sided die, so yeah.
Holy cow, man! Keep it off your nuts.
By the way, it's 15, so yeah, it's a good roll.
Well, you failed your saving throw. You now have to get the bridge troll.
So what was Brendan, when you were there, what were some of the things you checked out? You're at Comic-Con. Oops, sorry.
Well, I'm the only one that didn't actually go down to actual Comic-Con,
Mhm.
besides going to the Walking Dead Escape, which we'll touch on later.
Mhm.
The most of I did was check out Gamerscon for about maybe an hour, um, and that was way underwhelming.
Uh,
um, as Jeremy and Jesse will agree on, it was a good idea, just not particularly done the way probably should have been done.
mhm.
The location was bad. The structural was, they had one thing going for it. They had this achievement kind of thing going on,
Mhm.
where you would get achievement points and you can trade it in for free stuff. There's a lot of cool stuff that prizes that you can exchange for, but that was the only thing going for it. From the pictures and what they said, they had this big old room with a bunch of computers set up for like tournaments and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I saw nothing like that.
Really? Huh.
Bottom floor is the only ones that had computers, and they was all set up for like dealers and stuff.
Hmm.
Second floor had a tabletop gaming room, which had
Mhm.
maybe 10 people in there. Third floor had a art show, which had 10 pieces of art and nothing interesting. And then the top floor had maybe 10 people sitting around at the on the roof, just drinking and listening to music.
Holy
Interesting.
crap,
Yeah.
that was 5 times more people than I saw up there.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's
Interesting.
what I'm saying though. It's very, that was the most I've seen, and from what I heard from the rest of you guys, it was even less as days went by. So I guess the fourth day was where most people went there to check it out and see what it was about, and they said now we're not going to come back.
Interesting. It's funny
So
because. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
it was very very lackluster when it comes to what they had.
Hmm.
And now I wasn't there when the tournaments. I wasn't there for any of the actual live bands on the rooftop later at night. We always went during the day, so it may have changed during the nighttime, but I highly doubt, because so many things are going on around Comic Con and down in San Diego that why would people want to go up there unless that's the only tickets they have?
Interesting. It's funny because like we noticed this convention like was it months ago or maybe even last year I want to say, and like they said on their site they're kind of touting that we have all these great numbers and we have this setup and the pictures like from the looks of it like looked like it was a very successful event last time they had it. So I'm not so it's interesting to hear that it was actually quite the opposite this year.
From
I,
what
it,
I
it,
noticed, oh, go ahead.
well, I was gonna, to be fair, it could have just been a massive drop-off from one year to the next, or it could have just been excellent salesmanship.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, from what Jeremy mentioned, and I didn't realize, was that the building that they were on didn't have a big building in front of it last year, so there was a big old nice view of the sun and everything going down, and like that. But this year, since there's a new building in front of it, you don't have that kind of same aspect. So from what I could tell, it could be different at night, but since it went to 12 a.m. at night, but I really don't know, because none of us had the motivation to actually go there because we had other things going on.
Well,
Yeah.
not only that, I mean, it was right on the edge of this really kind of rough area of downtown San Diego, so you really didn't even want to go walking around there after the sun went down.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
that was one of my complaints. Is just the actual location was very, very bad. During the day it was fine, because we went there. Me, Jeremy, and his wife went down there in San Diego to take a look at our hotel back a couple months ago, and we went past there, and it wasn't too bad. But during nighttime, we don't really have the want to go down there and test out the waddles.
Wow.
We'll say. Now, and the building wasn't that great, like I said. If they had a different location where it was a nicer building and more more space for an actual convention that can be held there, that would probably been a different venue. That it would have been nicer. Maybe a hotel even.
Okay, interesting. Wow. Wow. Okay. Um, so I noticed you guys were. I mean, you guys were covering a lot of Comic Con, as much as you guys can. Um, I think one of the interesting pictures that I saw from Jeremy um, was you guys checked out the Xbox Lounge and the Square Enix booth at Comic Con.
Oh, yeah, I walked by there. Those were two separate days, actually.
Hmm.
That was kind of part of the strength of Comic-Con is that a lot of people assume that it begins and ends in the building. Fuck to the no. All of downtown has kind of turned into this gigantic nerdy festival for 4.5 days, literally. The Square Enix arcade wasn't even a place I intended to go on Friday afternoon. I went to, I had to pick up something late from the dealer's hall, so I was there a couple of minutes after it closed, and then Steve and I walked up to the Ghostbusters fan party, Mass Hysteria. It was supposed to start at 7:30. By the time we got there at like 7:20, it was already packed to the gills, and people were waiting outside to get in.
Wow.
So we snapped a couple pictures, and then about 7:40, we decided to walk and try and find something to eat because we already had a late night scheduled. And we tripped across the Whiskey Girl, which was the same location of the Square Enix arcade. So we looked at the signs and just said, well, shit, you want to look here?
what was there actually? Like what you? I saw the pictures of you inside, but what exactly was there?
They were demoing several new games. This new Lara Croft game I wasn't familiar with, which I think was the sequel to Guardian of Light. It looked like a MOBA type game. They were playtesting two new the Hitman Sniper game for mobile platforms, as well as promo videos for Hitman Go. They had playtest versions of Nosgoth and a couple other games. So there were people standing around the edge of the bar with the occasional Square Enix employee walking between them, helping them, just trying out all kinds of stuff.
Interesting. Was it?
And the whole time you could actually get full food and drink while at the bar too.
Question is, were they spendy?
Were they what?
Were they expensive, like the drinks and food there?
No.
Really?
No, I got a Philly cheesesteak and garlic fries for $12.
That's fucking good. Wow. That's awesome.
For downtown San Diego, that's freaking excellent, actually.
Wow, that's
I
really
paid
good.
another $3 for a cranberry juice, and I was done.
Wow. That's really awesome. Holy shit. Huh. That's cool. Oh, that's awesome. So, there are things I noticed, is that, if anything, the Comic-Con is known for, is that the mass amount of, items and products you can buy at Comic-Con, from all sorts of companies within the 4 days that were there. By any chance, I saw some photos of like some of the new figure models that Marvel was putting out there, like the Thor and everything else that was there.
Those weren't Marvels; those were Sideshow collectibles.
Oh, right, Sideshow collectibles. My bad. As far as like, did you guys manage to grab anything exclusive or anything you managed to grab your hands on from Comic-Con?
I got one from the IDW booth, but I looked at it as like, I'm rather disappointed with it, to be honest.
Tell them what it was, man. Don't just sit there. Don't just
Yeah, man.
shit.
Don't tease me, man.
Basically, it was a My Little Pony teaser. It's supposed apparently it was their 22nd issue, plus 8 pages of their annual that's supposed to be coming out later.
Oh, okay. And it was a disappointment, as you say.
Well, I guess I must have misread what it was supposed to be because I thought I was getting something else, but
Gotcha.
again, I misread a lot of things.
Right.
I actually managed to grab a couple of exclusives for myself, oddly enough.
Well,
on preview night, I went to the Kotobukiya booth.
oh yes, that booth is awesome. Or the figures are really good.
Holy crap, calm down. I got my hands on the X-Force Psylocke, except the San Diego exclusive version is the one where she is dressed in her classic blue and pink.
Oh, cool.
Complete with pink lightning on her hand.
Oh, awesome.
That was kind of funny, too, because as I was standing in line, they didn't bring over they didn't hire a bunch of people specially for this event. What they did was they actually brought over some of their staff from Japan to work the event.
Oh, wow. No way.
So, yeah, as I was standing in line, the lady that was supposed to be marking the end of it, she's trying to show me these Luke Skywalker lightsaber chopsticks that light up. And, you know, they're $15, and she's explaining the whole concept of the Japanese version of my chopsticks to me. And I'm listening to her, and she's speaking in pretty good English. I can hear the accent in there. And as soon as she finished the sentence, I just said, "Honto ka?" And she says, "Honto yo." And she turns away, and all of a sudden she slowly turns around with her eyes wide, like, "Holy fuck, round eye, what did you just say?" So she's just astonished, and she's flabbergasted. She doesn't know what to say. So I told her in Japanese, I speak a little. And all of a sudden, it was like getting stuck in a stereotype, because then we got into a bowing contest. It was really fucking weird.
That's awesome.
But the other exclusive I managed to grab is probably something a couple people might actually find me about. The Hasbro booth is notoriously busy.
Oh,
They have a ticket system. Every morning they give out a group of tickets that'll give you a specific time you can go by the place and buy. And if you don't have one of those tickets, generally you're SOL. They won't even talk.
Interesting.
On day 3, I was walking by and I happened to see that there was almost no one at the booth, and so I asked the people, do you need a ticket? And they said no. So I walked straight up there. This had 2 things that was kind of really odd. Number one, I picked up the Infinity Gauntlet set.
Nice.
So I now have this gigantic golden glove sitting here that I don't quite know what to do with. But the other thing that was kind of interesting was 3 places ahead of me in line. I'm staring at the back of this guy's head, and I'm thinking, this guy looks really fucking familiar. Why is this bothering me? And as soon as he bought something and turned away, I realized I was looking at the back of the head of CM Punk.
Oh, what? No, wait. What? Okay, so what was CM Punk doing at the Hasbro booth?
I think he was a fan.
Yeah, he was buying. He was in town apparently to attend Comic-Con. He did a couple of podcasts, but he wasn't a special guest of anybody. So he was just in there hanging out.
That's nuts. That's awesome. Wow. It'd be funny. It'd be real funny if like you see the back of his head, he's buying something, and as he turns away, like all you see in his bag is a My Little Pony figurine.
What would have been funny actually is if he looked out of the corner of his eye and said, "This fat fuck recognizes me," then produces a chair and just wangs me with it and runs away.
Wow, that's really cool though. Holy shit.
Actually, he wasn't the only celebrity I had a close encounter with. I just wasn't aware of most of the others. Celebrities will often put on disguises of varying culpability just so they can wander the floor without being bothered.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out I walked a couple times by Daniel Radcliffe, who was dressed up as Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, I saw those pictures. Like he was.
I recognized that costume. Was trying to figure out why this guy seemed so nervous every time someone came near him. I saw somebody else who had a Spider-Man mask but was dressed in coveralls, which was really fucking throwing me.
Huh.
It turns out it's the young lady that plays Arya Stark in Game of Thrones. That was
Oh shit. Oh, okay, that's interesting.
And one other person I didn't see but did recognize was this black and white Jester costume. It was Jack Black.
Oh.
He was so adamant about what he was doing, he even disguised his voice because, as he put it, if I said anything, everyone just said, "Wait, you're Kung Fu Panda."
That's interesting. Oh man, it's like it's funny in a way. It's like these stars are coming in to check out Comic-Con like everybody else, but at the same time they have to hide themselves so secretly because of the popularity that at times it feels like they're cosplaying when they're trying not to.
Yeah, they have to figure out ways to just do the do.
Yeah, definitely. Just be like Seinfeld. Just embrace it.
No, be unlike Seinfeld. Be funny. You heard me.
Yes, and now we're getting about 5 angry red letters now.
Take your shots.
So what were some of the things you guys might need to check out? I know. Well, actually, Jimmy, let me ask you, since you were there on Preview Night, for those who don't know, what exactly happened on Preview Night?
Preview Night is it's kind of like a stripped down version of Comic-Con. They have a limited amount of extra stickers they sell to people who manage to get 4-day badges so that they can wander around the dealer's hall prior to the majority of the crowd showing up. There's very few other things going on, so that it seems like the entire night the focus is on the exhibit hall, which is fully open for preview night.
Interesting. Okay. Is it is the show floor open at that time, or is it just kind of not ready yet for the general public?
Oh no, it's fully functional.
Oh, okay.
You know, everybody. It's the only night where you don't need any special ticketing information by exclusives. It's just a matter of if you get through the line before the place closes.
I see. Gotcha. Okay.
So there was a lot of commerce already going on, and frankly, I could have finished my entire shopping on Thursday if I had thought I would get that much motion out of the dealer's hall. If I had remembered a poster tube, I would have been done.
I see. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. So I have to ask because when I was told this, like I was wondering how it would go. How was the zombie escape?
Oh fuck,
Jeremy, all you.
Well, let me preface this with a couple of things. Number one, we were out at Hollywood Babylon, which started extremely late.
Mm-hmm.
And because of a combination of a 5-hour energy and a Destiny beta,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to sleep till 4 that morning.
Oh, wow.
So after spending some time out and about working and going back to the hotel and taking a midday nap, I had only had a total of 4.5 hours sleep by the time we left to do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the only one who had a survivor badge. You know, I was supposed to run the course while the others were supposed to watch.
I see.
So by the time I lined up, I was already facing a gamut of moods. I was tired. I wasn't feeling well. I was kind of listless. I was a little angry. I was just irritable in general.
Mm-hmm.
And they put you through, when you first get in, you go through 2 speeches. One that basically explains that even though it's a zombie obstacle course, there are people, please don't hit them.
Mm-hmm.
And another one where they're setting up the storyline. Now, when they're setting up the story, they put you in this 4-walled fence, like this chain link fence with drapes all around it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can hear people pretending to be walkers banging on it.
Mm-hmm.
And as they locked this thing behind us, there was this young Asian couple. I don't know if it was brother-sister or if it was boyfriend-girlfriend. The girl was losing her goddamn mind.
Like, terrified, like...
She was absolutely losing it. Her eyes were wild. She looked like a rabbit in a cage surrounded by wolves. You know, she was talking about how she had to get out of here. This wasn't working. You know, she needed to get out. And her friend was doing her best to calm her down. And like I said, I was tired and irritable. Usually I'm helpful in these situations, and I was just kind of staring going, what the frick is your problem?
Interesting. Huh.
And as the second speech is going on, I remember thinking, can we hurry this up or frickin' something because I don't feel well? All of a sudden you hear this bang noise. The back wall of the fence is wide open, and all of a sudden I remember thinking, oh shit, and I ran out the other end. That was the moment where my brain suddenly clicked into full gear. It's like, gotta move.
Wake up.
That's awesome. Wow.
And I jogged my heavy self all the way up 5 levels of Petco Park.
Oh wow. How long was the, or like how, like in terms of length, like how long was the obstacle course?
That's hard to say because we went upstairs, downstairs, through the stadium seats, through several sections of the park. I would have to say that if I had to take a guess, after breaks and everything for story to develop, it was probably a good 300 to 350 yards.
Okay. Okay.
That's 3 official football field lengths. I mean, that doesn't sound like much, but when you're dodging people and trying to run around and over obstacles, this is pretty serious.
Wow, I can imagine. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, the first time they stopped us, we ran up about 4 levels waiting to get to the 5th, and there's this army guy who's trying to explain the zombie virus to us, and at the same time he's doing this, somebody else appears and collapses next to him. And I remember as he was speaking, like the 3 or 4 of us at the front of this group, which included me, were kind of looking between this collapsed guy and the one speaking, just kind of going, can we speed this up? Come on, man. And then there was the first kind of scare moment combined with a little bit of comedy because somebody else appeared from behind the pillar, fully as a walker, grabs this guy by the shoulder, starts chomping down on his neck, and as soon as the guy starts screaming, he goes, oh shit, and he falls down. This other guy on top of him. And as much as we wanted to laugh, those of us in front just kind of said, jump, and we leapt over the whole thing and started moving.
You just basically left him for dead. Just like, sorry, we gotta go.
Oh, he's done for,
like,
man.
Everyone just said, know where this goes.
I've seen the show. I know what
So,
happened.
the funny thing is, halfway through the course, I might have cheated.
What? How?
There was 4 of us who ran into this empty section in a hallway, and we saw a lit door that said men. So we walked inside, and the bathroom was on. So we stopped for a pee and splash water on our face and wash our hands, not necessarily in that order.
Uh-huh.
And we just kind of took a moment to, I don't want to say freshen up, just kind of relieve ourselves. It felt kind of like debug mode, frankly.
Can you imagine if they actually hit a walker in there?
That was the funny part, because when the 4 of us walked in there and we're looking at the stalls, all of a sudden we realized that there was this closed door and there was a pair of feet under him.
Oh, shit.
And there was that moment where we just kind of looked at each other and considered whether or not we wanted to tap that door and see if this was a setup.
Wow.
Fortunately, not long after we started asking each other that question silently is when we heard a flush, and we're just like, okay, let's go pee.
Oh,
But, I weigh above 260, and I will not say that the course was easy. There was a couple times during sessions where they wanted to slow down and add story where I was bent over, breathing, and people asked me, are you okay? And I'm sweating buckets from my head, and I remember just saying, yeah, don't worry, it's better than it looks.
Wow. Wow.
But to my credit, they give us 60 minutes to get through the course. Otherwise, they'll escort us out for the sake of crowding. I got through it in 30.
Wow. Wow. What was
Did okay.
what was the end prize? Like, out of everything that you went through, like, what exactly was the end prize of it all?
Congratulations and hearty handshake.
Oh. Huh. I kind of. Wow, that's disappointing.
Well, we did get a free comic book and a game for Xbox 360.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Okay. Not too bad. Oh, which game,
Yeah.
by the way?
Walking Dead, this game.
Season 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes, that's
the Telltale games.
okay. Then yes. Okay, that's worth it. Then that's worth it.
No, it was actually a worthwhile experience to do it at least once. It's surprising how interesting it is. I mean, early on, there is some guy standing on top of a gurney while 3 walkers surround him, and he's tossing out body parts supposedly from a cadaver, saying, "I never make it. I'll distract him for you."
That's awesome.
It's like everybody up front just kind of went, "The hell, man!" And they started running around to me. I'm just like, "Okay, quickest way through." I dove underneath the gurney, and came out the other side.
That's awesome.
Well, I was a spectator along with Steve, Brandon, and Karen. And they only gave the spectators a small segment to photograph runners, but in the middle of that section they had a bunch of
Well,
walkers.
I ran by 4. You guys just managed to be in 1.
Well, we were told that press was only allowed to be in that specific section. That was the very end of the actual spectator area.
That's probably only because we had press passes. Those were complimentary.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the reason why that was so interesting is because there's multiple ways of going through the course, and that was just all the ways actually merge into that spot. So we can see people going to different directions coming in.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like I had an interesting experience there because the walkers they're really believable. They're different types of walkers. Some just have the hands up, just going after people. Others just can lean forward their face. They're really good, and they interact with everyone there with cameras and whatnot. I actually had a fun experience. I think Karen recorded it, but there's a walker that was like inches away from my face, and I'm not looking at it. I know he's there. I'm grinning ear to ear because that's kind of my defense mechanism for this kind of stuff. I was grinning ear to ear, not wanting to look. And he's just starting reaching behind me. I can feel his hand brushing against my back.
Did I tell Anthony about the dick moment I had?
No, no.
Yes.
What happened? What happened?
At the end of the course, they lead you into a blackout tent. Okay, it's like a deep, dark tent on all sides. It doesn't allow any light in. They close the flaps behind us. I see some guy standing beneath a spotlight, so I'm thinking, okay, so I know this is part of the story. And I'm standing towards the back of the group, not because I was slow, but because I managed to actually go fast enough to merge with the group ahead of me.
Uh-huh.
As I was standing there waiting for something to happen, I'm shifting left to right because I'm gassed, I'm tired, and when I'm tired, I have no filter whatsoever.
Uh-huh.
I am a dick. What happened was I saw this blonde who was like half a head shorter than I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this freaking instinct all of a sudden because she was just standing there. So I leaned forward, I put like my fingertips on the side of her head and on her shoulder, and I started making this noise. And she jumped out of her goddamn skin. She whirled around and just said, "Don't do that!" And her male friend is just laughing himself silly.
That's awesome.
So, well, it got better because she said, "I don't know where your friends are, man, but you need to go do that to them." And I said, hey, yeah, they're outside. They didn't run. And she just said, "Oh, shit." Just say, great, I can't turn this one off. And I have no idea if that was her brother, friend, or boyfriend. All I can say is if that was her boyfriend, he wasn't getting none that night. He thought that was funny.
Damn. Wow, that's hilarious.
And the worst part was I knew I was tired because I didn't feel bad at all.
At that moment where like you don't care anymore, like you wouldn't care, like there was like a stain in your shirt and you just be like walking like it was nothing.
Dude, I wasn't even convinced that was the end. I thought they were going to make us run again. I'm like, this is my one chance to do a funny.
Wow, that's cool. That's pretty awesome. And I assume that some of this was recorded as requested.
They can only record from one section, so I don't know what they recorded of each other.
Mm-hmm.
There was several signs up everywhere that said your participation means you will be filmed and photographed by the Walking Dead escape. So it's like I don't know what the hell they're making, but yeah.
I'm curious now. What if you know what? If anything, I bet you they're going to make a compilation video of just like everybody kind of running through the obstacle course, and I bet you that they were hitting cameras throughout the entire area.
Oh, probably. It was really one of those moments where I had more fun than I thought I would, especially since I was feeling like absolute crap going in.
Gotcha.
Dude, could you imagine they actually had hitting camera when you scared the crap out of that blonde?
That would be great. That'd be awesome.
We will as spectators, we were actually pretty surprised of how well the some of the walkers interacted with everyone. Some of them just kind of wandered around, did nothing, and just did whatever they wanted to do. But some of them actually did do stuff. But what we actually thought was funny was that how the people that were runners reacted to some of them. You know, one guy I saw, he actually like was literally being serious about it and trying to escape them. And at one point, one walker came out like from one of the blockers and skilled the crap out of this guy. He flipped around in a 360 to try to get around her. I thought it was hilarious.
That's awesome.
And there's this really just enjoying the experience. Like, didn't we see one guy trying to get a selfie with him and one of his walkers behind him?
Yeah. There was one guy getting a selfie with one of the walkers.
That's awesome. So what other stuff did you manage to guys check out when you were there?
I went to Petco Park to check out a few things there.
Yeah, did you get into Nerd HQ?
Yeah, I did actually.
What was that like? I mean, I didn't get a chance to step in there just due to time constraints.
Basically, you know how we describe Gamerscon. This is like a little bit of Gamerscon because there's a lot of different, modern games there. Just various different games that I can't even begin to describe.
Mm-hmm.
Best way I can describe it is this is stuff you probably find in Japan a lot.
Oh, interesting.
Other than that, they got a Alien Encounter booth, Sonic Boom area where you can actually play the game.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
They even have a statue of Sonic there.
Ah,
But
okay.
I actually went there to attend uh, um, a segment called Friend Zone, which is a segment on a YouTube. Let me get my thoughts together.
Right.
Gaming group on YouTube called Polaris, and they have a segment called Friend Zone where they get a bunch of their people there sitting on the couch wearing animal pajamas and just playing weird party games and very obscure video games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was it. It was just funny you mentioned that because I just started looking up some stuff that they recorded from the Nerd HQ event. And yeah, they were doing that. They were definitely doing other panels as well. They even had like a live Ninja Six Party concert going on at one point, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
we
did.
were
I
requested.
wasn't there for
I know
that.
we were requested to go by there, but frankly, after the Walking Dead escape, it's like, okay, I need an ice cream cone.
Right, right.
And he got a tub instead.
Hey, I found it, didn't I?
Yeah, you were kind of disappointed after we left CVS how expensive it was, and then we were walking by the gift booth in the hotel, and he's like, "Ooh, what's that?"
Hey, when Haagen-Dazs is calling, Haagen-Dazs will be answered.
Haagen-Dazs.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
You know, I already spoke Japanese. You think I won't speak Dutch?
But that's cool. Now where was Nerd HQ like located? Like where it's
Petco Park.
Petco Park? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. From what I saw from videos, it looked pretty crowded.
Not well. I guess for some they did record that you saw them maybe was when I was there. There was a lot of a walking room.
Interesting. So was there enough where, I mean, like, obviously it's not enough to body, but, like, was there enough to, like, say, like, oh, this has a good amount of attendance, or was it, like, enough to where, like, well, it could have been better?
If for the lackluster of Gamerscon with the crowdness of compared to the crowdness of Comic Con, I say 60% lean toward Comic Con. There's still room to maneuver, but there was definitely a good amount of people there.
Okay, gotcha, okay. Oh, that's interesting. But that's cool. That's awesome. Now, I know during those past 4 days, San Diego just shuts down and celebrates everything Comic-Con, including the food vendors and everything else. At any given point, was it hard to find, well, I wouldn't say find food, but was there any point, like, was it hard to get in to get food because of what was happening during that weekend for you guys? Or was it more or less you guys were able to get in, get out, no questions asked?
It depends how close you were to the convention, depending on your weight was.
I'm not even sure about that. We walked all the way from Petco to our hotel on Saturday, which is a good, like, 10-minute walk without stopping, and we really didn't decide based on crowding. We just decided based on price of what we could handle.
I
There were lots of places we could have stopped along the way pretty easily. At least I think so.
Yeah, I agree. I was the one that was most of the one that was hungry at that point, and going through the things, they were crowded. The bars were packed, the restaurants were packed, but there wasn't packed to the point where they didn't have tables. There was at least one or two tables on each restaurant, but price wise and the accessibility, we ended up just going to a Japanese restaurant and getting takeout from that was close to our hotel.
Okay, cool. How much? What were the prices for it, by the way?
Not that bad. I got a dragon wolf for 14, and a cowpittle wolf. I think it was like 11, and then a bento box for about 14. Not that for San Diego. That's around the up price you'd get. I mean, up in North County, you can probably get the same amount for $3-4 less. But since San Diego, obviously the price is gonna be bumped a little bit.
Okay,
So it's not too bad.
that's pretty good. It's pretty good, huh? Interesting. So with all
It was better than the $25 New York steak that I saw at one of the restaurants.
oh really?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. So yeah, I assume that there were places that are like jacking up the price because of Comic-Con and so many people there.
Well, hotels
I
in
don't.
general jack up the price, but I'm not necessarily sure about restaurants. I don't think they do that much, if any.
Yeah, there's some high-end restaurants who don't need to do anything to their prices, and frankly, they don't even need to lower them because if the rank and file won't go there, that means the executives who are running the booth will.
Okay. Okay. Um, in terms of, I mean, like, obviously, like, Comic-Con is a yearly thing that everybody goes to or that can afford to, and um, it isn't an event. It is a thing that happens that just is on a grand scale, the biggest comic convention in the U.S. Out of the, and I like, obviously, the one other thing that with every convention comes with is cosplaying. Um, Out of the cosplays you guys saw that weekend, anything that particularly stood out to you that just you had to get a picture of, or just kind of, or just like to yourselves like, wow, that's an awesome looking costume.
I can't say the only thing I thought. I can say it's very standard and it's pretty awesome, but I didn't manage to catch a few. It's like, holy crap, someone actually remembers this. Like, I saw one person cosplay as Danny Phantom, and like, holy crap, someone still remembers the show.
That's awesome.
I saw a lot of costumes. I didn't see any as I saw as like must go out of my way to do anything
Hmm.
because frankly, cosplay at Comic Con very light.
That's what I heard too.
Um,
That's what I heard too as well.
I would say moderately. You know, a lot of anime conventions and moderate-sized comic conventions probably like at the most 4 out of 10 people are cosplaying. You know, can't throw something without hitting somebody in a bright colored jacket.
That's true.
However, Comic Con is probably closer to about 1 in 20 to 40 people actually cosplaying.
Interesting.
There's a lot more people who are there to either buy something or sell something, frankly, than there are people just hanging out.
Hmm. Interesting. Like it's because like the funny thing is like I mean well okay except for to say like yes the conventions that me and other people have been to you know are usually anime conventions and cosplay is the kind of the main focus of those conventions. But I've been actually funny that you mentioned it and now remembering it. Like people have said like at Comic-Con like cosplay is it's pretty light. It's not as apparent as other conventions are.
Well, that's because there's no place to gather in front of the building. I mean, all the cosplay gathering spots that I saw were either in parks or behind the building. Cosplay is such a look-at-me hobby. If you don't have a look-at-me venue, then it's not going to go well.
Interesting. Interesting. It's huh. Okay.
You know, I mean, the fire marshal was much more active at San Diego than he was at Anime Expo. Why, I don't entirely freaking know, considering that nearly got run over a few times at Anime Expo.
Right.
But
right.
there were a couple of events where the fire marshal did warn them, if you don't keep these people moving, I'm going to shut this crap down now.
Wow, that's crazy. And with Comic-Con size, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I didn't say I was surprised in that it wasn't warranted, but like I said, you know, considering how much more crowded the Anime Expo was this year than sections of Comic-Con were, I'm kind of surprised that Fire Marshal in San Diego said, okay, I'm going to enforce this. Meanwhile, apparently the one in Los Angeles said, I'm going to go get a bagel.
Brandon, like, did you see any any cosplays when you were walking that kind of stood out to you, or was it the same as Jeremy, as it was very light and
As I said earlier, I only went down to the actual Comic-Con convention center once, and I did not see that particularly many that I was interested in when about a 10 walk that we did.
That giant monster was the best cosplay I'd ever seen, but then again, that was a giant animatronic. So
okay, I was like, when I saw that photo, I was like, I had to pause for a second. Is that a cosplay? Because that one big ass cosplay.
I have a video of the entire thing with Jeremy and Karen going underneath it and actually interacting with it.
That's
the picture.
so cool.
So I will be putting that up. Yeah, that thing was pretty interesting. The one thing I do have to mention is the Captain America on the bike that we see.
Cool.
that dopey thing.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty funny, in my opinion. But that was the as closest to cosplay that I thought was pretty interesting.
Interesting.
In my 10-minute walk.
Well, I had one good story. It's not really about good cosplay, but it's like, you seen those those people, sporting those religious text.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
protesters.
those people. I saw one guy with a speaking as loud as he can as I got on the bus, and I'm kind of rolling my eyes. It's like I don't care about you, whatever. But he's still walking by slowly, uh, preaching his thing. And I see 3 Deadpools come up behind him and start fist pumping behind him.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, funny you mentioned that. I remember seeing it was in a video by P Diddy of him going around Comic Con and having fun, and I remember seeing him like with the protesters, and he was holding up a sign.
Hmm.
Man, what was it? Man,
Goku saved us.
yeah, it was.
I loved that.
That was
Did you
awesome.
hear he's getting his own action figure?
Who? P Diddy?
Yep.
Yes.
No way. Are you serious?
He posted it on his Facebook.
No.
Yep, he's getting his
Wait.
own action figure with a blank sign that you can write whatever the hell you want on it.
But isn't he like just him cosplaying, or is it?
Yes.
Yeah. It was him, but the what was it, Marvel? Who owns it?
Yeah.
They'll actually release an action figure and adding the sign to it.
Huh.
So it's basically him with the sign. So it's basically him.
But it, like the actual person, him, like his real life.
Well, no. It's gonna be him. It's gonna be a Deadpool action figure with the sign.
Oh, I see what you're
So it's basically him with him
Oh.
in his cosplay as an action figure.
saying. It's so meta.
Yeah, I know, but it's so cool too.
that's interesting. Wow, that's cool.
Yeah, I showed everyone at the hotel when I think it was like the second day or something. After I saw it posted to his Facebook, I'm like, oh my god, that's awesome.
That's really cool. Awesome. So the other thing I've noticed when you guys were down there, at least from the outside coming in, obviously the crowds were it's Comic-Con, it's always going to happen no matter what.
Yeah.
But just out of curiosity, was like every other convention out there, or I mean, well, at least when it comes to Comic-Con or when it comes to any comic convention, did people still go nuts for free stuff? Just out of curiosity, when people were giving that out, or was it more subdued this year than previous years?
Dude, they make shit just to give out free stuff, frankly. You got a free T-shirt for running the Assassin's Creed obstacle course. You got a free keychain for playtesting The Crew by Ubisoft. You got free shit for playtesting out at the Xbox Live Arcade. You stand in line at the Fox booth. You get a poster tube with a poster in it. I mean, all the major booths are just giving out free stuff. I walked by and have a conversation with somebody. She gave me a free She-Ra Princess of Power button just because she said I was awesome.
Wow. That's awesome. Okay. So
As he said, yeah. You can get all kinds of stuff just by having a conversation.
interesting. Okay. But was there did you see crowds of people just going nuts like at any booth just because they're handing out free stuff or passing out free T-shirts? What did you see?
That's one of the primary reasons we couldn't get near the Fox booth, because every day they were handing out these poster tubes, and everybody fracking wanted one for some reason.
Ah, I see. Gotcha.
I saw one crowd when they brought all the actors for Arrow who were signing stuff in the exhibit hall.
Wow.
Yeah, I got stuck in that tornado.
And crap, dude, J. Scott Campbell was there all weekend, and his deal was he would sign the first object of whatever you brought for free.
Really?
It might start costing you after that, but the first object was always free.
Interesting. Interesting. Wow. So let me try and think what else happened. So I'm pretty sure by the time Sunday rolled around, it was pretty. Was it just as crowded as the other days, or was it pretty light since it's
Yes.
the last day? It was still crowded. Seriously?
Yeah.
Sunday is the busiest day.
Oh right. Yeah, I'm thinking, of course,
It's like most other large conventions. When people are checking out of their hotels, there's still an afternoon at the convention with no place for them to go now.
right.
So if you don't finish whatever you need to do by about 11 o'clock Sunday, kiss your ass goodbye.
Interesting. Okay. Huh. Interesting. Yeah, you're totally right, because I totally forgot, especially at any convention that you go to. Generally, the last day is, you're leaving, but you're also the last day to buy shit. whether it be from the dealer's hall or out of tally. But in this instance,
Yeah.
at Comic-Con,
It's because of stuff like this that I have a general rule. Spend the extra $50 per person. Have your hotel room for an extra day. What's the worst thing that happens? You leave at 6 o'clock and you still got a chance to sit down and have lunch before everything ended.
Okay.
In addition to that,
leaving with the rush.
Oh, yeah.
in addition to that, Comic-Con is one of the only conventions that I know that stays open till what, 6 o'clock at night on the day it closes.
Huh.
Yeah, it's open. The dealer's hall on full days is open from 9 to 7. So unless you're really hunting for exclusives, there's not a hell of a lot of reason to hurry. And yeah, they're open from 9 to 6 the last day, damn near a full day anyway.
Interesting. Okay.
So, I would seriously say, though, that if you're contemplating going to Comic-Con, I've heard a lot of people bitch and moan online, especially in the Act forums, that they would rather go to Anime Expo because they don't want to deal with the headache of getting badges. After everything we went through over the 4.5 days of the convention, badges are not necessary to entertain yourself at Comic-Con. There is so much unbelievable stuff to do that doesn't require a badge for entry. It helps, but it's not required for you to have a badge to enjoy the area. I mean, the Square Enix arcade didn't have a badge requirement. They just wanted you to have a valid ID so you can order a drink.
Petco Park, too. You don't need a badge to get in there. And there's a whole lot of things being done over there.
Yeah, The Walking Dead Escape didn't require a badge. Nerd HQ didn't require a badge. Gamerscon had their own badge.
Although The Walking Dead did have an area specifically to have people with badges to be able to spectate with for free. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Half the parties and events we did either didn't have a requirement for a badge or had their own separate ticket system. So, ghosting around here is almost encouraged, frankly.
Interesting.
And speaking of badges, to go to register to pick up your badge, 5 minutes.
No way.
Literally.
No
You
way.
walk up,
Are you
It
serious?
took longer for Jeremy to walk from where I dropped him off to get there to
Yes.
pick up his badge.
I can confirm that.
He is not kidding. I went on pre-reg, and I didn't technically have a preview night ticket, so we had to go to the Town and Country way off-site. And when I read the notice that that's where I had to go, I'm like, okay, so they're splitting their registration personnel, they're splitting the lines. This is going to be an effing disaster. And I had Brandon was nice enough to drive us in a car to the location, but when we saw the groups of people outside, I told him, just find a place to drop us off. We'll hoof it. You don't have to stick around for this. I should have asked him to stay. He was literally right. He dropped us off like 3 buildings over, and it's all hotel and industrial complex. So it takes a little while to walk there. The time it took from the point he dropped me off to enter the registration area was more than the time it took me to go from the back of the line to have my badge and walk out the front.
That's crazy. So they had. Wow, that's nuts. So
they have the most intelligent and slickest registration system I've ever seen. Everybody that runs registration is well trained. Everybody knows how to do their job. Everyone does it not just, you have to go here or there. It's just, could you please go over there, sir? That one over there is free and she has no line. That one is going to be done in a couple minutes. You can go stand behind her. They really are watching every frickin' thing. The line only stopped twice. And that was about the time it took me to put my feet together before it was starting to move again.
that's cool.
Yeah, and that was your, day 0 registration? I went to day 1. That was, I've had my fear of heights kicked in when we went up that escalator, but, after that, it's like you got people directing which way to go. As soon as I walked to the hall where they have registration, say, boom, there's the guy say, hey, there's a person over there, let's go. Gone.
Yeah, I don't even think I finished Instagramming before Jesse had already had his badge.
Yeah, it's like, boom, done, go to the next station where you pick up a huge tote bag. And I say huge because they designed the thing so you wear it like a backpack.
Right.
You literally wear it like a backpack.
Huh.
And then as I realized, I was like, this is a gigantic room filled with a lot of people with open glass, with glass windows on the ceiling and the walls. And all of a sudden I realized, it's still nice and cool in here. And that's when Jeremy pointed out, there are like 3 or 4 portable industrial air conditioning units pumping in cold air.
Interesting.
Yeah, they actually added extra machines to make sure this place stayed cool with all the extra bodies in it. I had to set up a couple things inside the dealer's hall, so when I walked in there, I noticed it was butt-ass cold. But as soon as they opened the doors and let people in there, It heats up fast.
All that body heat, man.
Yeah. So I was telling people, I was telling my entire crew on day 4, we may walk out of here with colds just because of all the damn temperature changes in this place.
Wow. Yeah, man. There's one thing that I think is no shortage of is like if you're cold and you go into a convention, you're gonna get warmed up pretty quickly because of everybody sweating and just close to one another and just all that heat condensed.
The movement.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we got the con funk.
Indeed. So one the thing I wanted to ask you was how was the Hollywood Babylon thing you went to?
I was worried about that.
Actually, I have an interesting thing. I haven't told any of you guys that because while we were waiting there, my mind just kind of wanders around because it's loud enough where I really can't hear anyone or talk to anyone. But I'm just kind of thinking to myself, like, I'm looking up at the ceiling, seeing everything. Everyone's like, I wonder if any of these will hit me if there was an earthquake. Really, that was really through my mind because I was just like, when's this thing gonna start? So I wander.
Yeah, it was scheduled to start at 11. It didn't actually start until 12:15. We found out the reason why was because they had an unannounced special guest who. The Hollywood Babylon was being held at the back of the House of Blues.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, their special guest was misinformed and went to the Hard Rock.
Oh. That's hilarious.
So he was apparently wandering around there for a while, and I noticed this guy, when he walked backstage, the show started like 3 minutes later, so this was obviously what we were waiting for. Turned out the special guest was Kevin Smith asked Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman in the animated series, to come and read a couple lines for the show.
Wow. I saw the photo. That's crazy. Wow. That's awesome. Holy shit.
Yeah. But I was a little worried about that because Jesse and Steve have a more conservative sense of humor than I do. I find the show funny on its own.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Brandon does too. So I didn't quite know how they'd respond to the show. I'll let Jesse say how he responded.
I laughed my ass off.
It was that good, Jesse? Did you enjoy your experience there?
At Hollywood Babylon, it didn't hit the things I didn't like. It was funny enough that I got everything and enjoyed it. So yeah,
Oh,
funny shit.
Awesome.
Yeah, 2 years in a row I've gone to Hollywood Babylon and Comic-Con, and 2 years in a row you will hear my obnoxious little ass yelling at Ralph Garman and Kevin Smith.
Lindsay Lohan.
Spies!
Wow.
Oh, yeah, you will hear him yell Lindsay Lohan at one point in the podcast.
Okay.
And they responded to it.
Wait. Oh, on their podcast? No way.
They call it an interactive show. You know, the audience is allowed to interact to a limited degree with these people, and the fuck was going on? I forgot.
That's awesome.
They were talking about something to do with casting choices, and Joe Miguel's.
That's right. Yeah, they had a section they call movies that will suck. Movies they're just absolutely sure will be terrible before they even start filming it.
Mm-hmm.
They started talking about Vin Diesel filming this movie called The Last Witch Hunter. And they said that his role in it is he's playing the last actual witch hunter who finds a witch and befriends her. And all of a sudden there I am yelling, Lindsay Lohan! And, Ralph Garman looked me in the face and says, I like your casting call, sir.
Wow. That's crazy. Wow, that's awesome. Holy shit. So if I definitely come next year, I'll definitely have to check it out then, if I get the opportunity.
No, we had a discussion. There was 5 of us work in the area, and we came to a certain agreement. We need to double that shit. There was no way around it. There is so much stuff going on. Even the fact that there was several of us wandering around the free events in the area wasn't enough of us.
Yeah, definitely. It was one thing that I've seen and heard that there's so much to do with the entire area of San Diego.
So little time.
Yes, so little time.
So basically, whatever you're thinking, double that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I saw some people at panels, they were like live blocking. They were actually tapping into an iPad trying to recount the major lines during panels. And I'm staring at that just going, how the fuck do you ever enjoy yourself this way?
I definitely get that feeling too because I know that feeling of like doing said Wardwork slash, trying to join the panel. But the thing is though about those panels, like they're gonna be uploaded video-wise, like a day or two later, or on the night of.
Yeah.
So it's,
I just watched the MythBusters panel today on their Tesla.com site.
Oh yeah, I heard you
The
did
whole
without any
panel was up.
moderators.
Yeah, they didn't have any moderators. They sat down on the panel table and they just took questions the entire time.
oh wow.
Well,
I wish
That's
I was
why,
there for that.
yeah. Well, that's why I asked to change the focus from the news that I was sure everyone was going to be repeating ad nauseum on the internet to just walking around and trying to check out all the stuff going on in the area, because no one ever talked about the fact that San Diego kind of turns into nerdy Disneyland for 4 days.
It really
Yeah.
does. Wow. It was funny you talk about MythBusters. I saw a video on Tested that Adam Savage was walking around in a costume, in his aliens costume that he made, and nobody like knew it was him.
It took him 10 years to make that thing.
10 years?
10 years.
Are you
he's been working
serious?
on that thing. Yes. He
Wow.
said it in this panel. He showed a video of it, and he said, "Yeah, it took me 10 years to perfect this."
Wow.
And he hosted his own cosplay party on Friday night.
Oh, no
Yes.
way. Are you serious?
The day
Yeah, he's an
before the
avid
panel,
cosplayer.
they mentioned they had. I was going to go to that, but I was just too damn exhausted. And
Yeah, he
yeah, well.
hosted a free no-cover party. I mean, this is part of what I'm talking about.
Wow.
All this shit that goes on outside the building, and everyone is so consumed with whatever Hasbro and Mattel is selling.
Wow.
You know,
Yeah,
there's
that's,
umpteen things to do if you would just breathe in for once and walk out and have some fun with it.
Step outside the box and enjoy the fresh air.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Adam Savage also announced a new project that he's been working on for a while. He didn't mention it, but since he only mentioned it there, which is pretty cool. So people got some gifts into what he's been doing lately. But he also said that he was making some kind of hand. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head that he showed there too. So there's
He's
a lot
developing
of
his own kung fu grip.
there's some hand that he made out of 3D printing that he's been making, but there's a lot of things that he actually did, and he hanged out with everyone and just just hang out and party with everyone, and yeah, it was free. Anyone can just stand in line and try to get in.
Wow, that's really cool. Wow, that's really fucking awesome. That's really sweet. Huh. So, speaking of parties, now, I'm not quite sure about Jesse when it comes to parties. I kind of have an inclination. I have a little idea about how Brendan and Jeremy are, but did you guys manage to check out any parties or heard of like parties happening at Comic-Con?
I am not the party person.
There were several parties happening at the hotels closer to the convention center, but because we were busy with events and stuff, we generally didn't try to walk into them.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Walking Dead after party that sort of at 9 after we were all done with the Walking Dead thing. The Adam Savage thing was kind of like a party, so they were drinking and everything like that. And then there was a party that they went to, the event, the Shield thing.
Oh, right. How was that?
Wait, the what?
Disappointing.
The Shield fan party.
Oh God, yeah. We only stayed for about an hour because things were very slow. They tried to do a raffle and they tried to give away something. They actually called 10 numbers in a row that nobody claimed an item.
Yes.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it was kind of half-baked, and it was one of those things where it was late Sunday, and we're just, we're all basically running on fumes by then, and we just kind of looked at each other and said, maybe we should get, Jesse and I ate some heavy food. We don't need dinner. My wife had already eaten. Steve wasn't interested, so we just kind of looked at each other, gave the X symbol, and walked out.
Okay. All right.
That's the thing about the bars. There's a couple of things going on here. I think if you're going to a party at Comic-Con, you're probably underage. And I'm not saying that to be dickish. I'm saying that because there are more bars per block in this area than I have ever seen. If you need a place to drink and you are above age, there is a place to drink without question. probably going into like 2 in the morning. So having a room party like at Anime Expo or a Fanime or a Kamikaze is just unnecessary.
I see. So basically, if you have trouble finding a place to party, Comic-Con will basically say like, hey, these are
Step
things.
outside.
Yeah, step outside. These are things happening around the con you can go to.
Well, not even Comic-Con. It's like the whole gas lamp area just says, hey, look, they've closed their doors. Come on in.
Yeah, the gas lamp is famous for the amount of bars that they have. Literally, there's a bar, 3 or 4 bars on every single corner.
Interesting.
So, I mean, like I said, unless you're doing something illegal, there's really no reason to get stupid and, like, pack, 3 different alcohols in your room and pretend you're making something fancy out of ice, vodka, and whatever energy drink you can pour over it. Go out and get yourself a goddamn drink.
Okay.
Go out and get it in costume. I have an interesting picture because I was walking by this grill where there's somebody dressed up as the Green Arrow from the Arrow series. He's sitting there chomping on a burger. He's got a beer in front of him. I'm just taking photos, and as I'm looking through my viewfinder, I realize he's staring right at me. I pull down my camera. I look at him. He just kind of gives me a nod. I give him a nod, and we go.
That's some slick shit. Like that's pretty awesome.
Oh, well, one thing I want to mention before I forget, the Mythbusters video they were showing Jamie walking through the Comic-Con dealer room as no costume, just as himself. And they mentioned that he was doing a little trick. When he's walking, because you get stopped when you're famous. You get stopped and people want to take a picture. Yeah. So what he did was that he just said yes and just kept on walking. Everything he just, you want to take a picture? Yes, and he never stopped. He just kept on walking. Same thing that he took it from the same thing that Arnold Schwarzenegger did. But in that video, I not only seen that guy that got married at the Hollywood Babylon in the video, and I saw that cosplayer that got injured in that video.
Oh, really?
I see your face. I saw the bunny ears and the same thing. It was whole.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
No, I'm sure he's positive it's the same person. Her picture's been all over the net, so it's going to be hard to mistake what she was dressed as. I just think I just want to touch on that for a minute because I think it is unfortunate that a lot of people immediately left to conclusions when this young lady was found because I admit I discussed with my wife when that happened and the accusation started to fly by this photographer. I told her, I hope this is legitimate. And a lot of people assume that to mean, I hope they arrested the right person. I literally meant something closer to, I hope this is not some kind of huge frickin' mistake.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it did turn out to be a huge frickin' mistake. The guy did wrong because he thought he was talking to somebody above 18, but at the same time, it's the usual story of young people out for a while, doing something stupid, getting hurt, and then the rest of us got to pay the price.
Right. Yeah, I mean, for those who don't know, and this is, I didn't really want to bring it up, but it was obviously a big thing that happened after Comic-Con. But for those who don't know, there was a young lady who was dressed up in a outfit, Roger Rabbit outfit, and she was missing for 24 hours. Yeah, a couple hours. Yeah. And
they found her bloody in the pool area of the Marriott Marquis. Her eye socket was badly damaged. She had brain bleeding when they got her to the hospital. So the first thing they did was arrest this 29-year-old photographer she was seen having an argument with, somebody she personally knew, and took her to Comic-Con to take pictures and take pictures of cosplayers. They apparently left a party, and they, according to the photographer, they got into an argument about what time they were supposed to leave. And she didn't appreciate that. Now, it turns out a lot of people assume when they found her bloody, including the police, they arrested this guy thinking that he sexually assaulted her. It turns out that now people have had a chance to go through the security footage. Nobody assaulted her. She tried to climb a 6-foot fence and fell on her goddamn face.
Yep. That's... Yeah. Yeah.
Or at least that's where the investigation sits at this moment. That's the official statement by the police.
I mean, there's still information that's still going to be coming out as it develops, but
it all comes down to the same unfortunate thing: is that number one, obviously this guy did wrong because he thought she was 20, she was 17. and she seems to have something in her system, according to the latest reports, either drugs or alcohol. So his arrest is going to stand under the case of, contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Very understandable, because unfortunately she went to this thing with him, and regardless of not being her guardian, he is quasi-responsible for her care at this place because he took her.
Yeah, that is.
So there's always that idea of make sure you're hanging out with who you think you're hanging out with. But at the same time, if you're going to get stupid, make sure you're around friends. Don't blow them off. Otherwise, you might find yourself behind deck chairs at the Marriott Marquis and Marina.
If anything, this entire story sums up is that there's more of a I guess a concerned effort now, I think, going forward for people to make sure to know who they're with and kind of be more alert of their surroundings, regardless if you are kind of drunk or doing other things.
So those of you listening to this, there was not a rape at Comic-Con. It was just probably the usual ne'er-do-wells doing stupid shit.
Yeah. So, yeah, I didn't really want to touch on it, but, we just a bit, just to,
Just to clear the air around this, in case a lot of people are listening to this going, Comic-Con wasn't so great. That girl got beat up and raped. No on both counts.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, it is what it is. But overall thoughts, guys. Like, what did you guys think of this year's Comic-Con versus previous years? Actually, before I ask that, like, is there any, did they release, like, the numbers attendance-wise yet, or that's still going to be a while before they do that?
They capped the last couple of years at 130,000 simply because they cannot put any more people in this goddamn building. And I believe that. There's an expansion coming that's going to add another 225,000 square feet of exhibition space.
Mm-hmm.
And Sean Cardano from Moji Byte said, do you think that'll alleviate the crowding? And I think
No.
one of us there said, fuck no, they're just going to add more bodies in that space.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
So,
speaking of the expansion, I have recently started doing some research on it, and I've come across some very interesting news that's been being delayed because of legal challenges, court dates, delays, and the amount of money it's going to cost to actually do expansions is just piling up because of all the legal challenges and everything like that. I'm not even sure anymore if it's going to be done by 2016.
We'll see. They're not even scheduled to break down until the early part. Break ground until the early part of next year anyway. So there's time to clear all that out, thankfully.
Yeah. Well, I did notice that someone was like, basically asked a question: will they lose any money by not having Comic-Con? And I'm like, fuck yeah, they will. I mean, how much money the Comic-Con brings in? They're like, oh, only 200 million. That's gotta be more than fucking 200 million.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's got to be in the B's by now. I did a little research myself, and the 2014 calendar of conventions at Comic-Con, the overall of what they plan to bring in is somewhere to the tune of about 225 billion, if I remember correctly, in commerce. But most of that had to have come from Comic-Con. Most of the other conventions that happen in San Diego don't top, I want to say, about 20,000 people. It seems like if there's anything else going on, it's multiple small events rather than any other large event going on.
Yeah. In my opinion, Comic-Con is one of the three biggest moneymaker events going on within San Diego. The second ones are the county fair and the racehorse track. The only three things that actually brings in a lot of money in Comic-Con is the biggest one of them, I believe.
Because we know the Padres aren't doing it.
No, the Chargers are not. Oh, speaking of that, the Chargers said that they were against the expansion unless a new stadium is attached to the project.
I know, that's not going to happen.
No.
You actually have to win shit before you get a new stadium.
Yeah. I was like, you have your own stadium. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
I couldn't believe that when I heard that. I was like shocked and mad at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah. Even though it's crowded, it's inconvenient, there's lines everywhere, I would still say wholeheartedly that this would be my end goal. Not Anime Expo, not Fanime, not any of like the 8 other things I do throughout the year. This is the place to be, and I'm not saying that because I have to buy shit or I need exclusives. I say that because there's so many individual things you can do out here that are hard to replicate any freaking where else.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, it's definitely from I will have to ask, because this is you guys are no stranger when it comes to Comic-Con, but I would ask, like, of all the trouble of the registration system is set up with Comic-Con right now, and possibly for future years, and other headaches that might come along with it, would you say that it was worth everything that you guys hope for, regardless of what happened with the headaches that might ensued?
Oh yeah, the positives far outweigh the negatives.
Okay, cool.
You guys got anything to say about that? Because I don't want to make it sound like it just turned into all high fury.
Yeah. Honestly, for me, this was an overwhelming experience, far more than I was dreaming of expecting from this. To me, it actually brought kind of a negative experience for me because I was completely and totally unprepared for any of this. So I'm gonna try again next year to see if I can do better.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you only had a 1-day pass, so obviously, you don't get the whole full gaps of it. Maybe next year we can all get 4-day passes and we can all experience the whole freaking thing.
Oh yeah,
You
definitely. Yeah, and an entire MSP, just guns galore, going. Yeah.
Yeah, a whole bunch of people standing there going, "Wow, look at all these people. It's hot. It's crowded. Want to go outside. It's fucking awesome."
That's cool. That's awesome. That's pretty sick. Well, guys, thank you guys for coming on tonight, kind of discussing all about Comic-Con and everything that ensued the past weekend. I'm just glad you guys made it in one piece, sort of.
What would you need to walk around and with a sword that says "I survived Comic-Con"?
Yes.
Yes.
Actually, that.
Of course we survived Comic-Con. I have the goddamn Infinity Gauntlet. What makes you think I'm not going to survive Comic-Con?
Oh, speaking of which, before I end this podcast, I want to ask, how were the Infinity Gauntlet donuts? Because I saw the picture that showed my friends. Like, it looks really delicious and awesome at the same time.
Dude, I didn't have one. There's something about a $10 bear claw that kind of scares me. And when I say a bear claw, I mean it's bigger than my damn hand.
Are you serious? Is that huge?
And Karen ate it all.
Wow.
No,
And
she had
Deadpool's head.
she did not have an Infinity Gauntlet. She had a Deadpool and she had a Rainbow Bright.
Oh, okay. So how big comparison of that donut that she ate in comparison to the Infinity Gauntlet?
The Infinity Gauntlet is probably wider by a good half inch and longer by an inch and a half. It's apple filled. Those gems in there are plastic.
Those
Can be
ones.
removed. Yes.
Oh,
Those
okay.
plastic gems can be removed from it and still eaten, but I was just kind of staring at it going, that might be good to eat. And I'm staring at $10? That's still early. I could afford that. Then I saw the size of it. It's like, oh, fuck no. But I mean, the donut bar that had this stuff was kind of awesome because they definitely had a specialty menu for the weekend. They had Spider-Man donuts. They had Batman lemon bars. They had Captain America's. They had they had specialty donuts made up to look like Homer's donuts from The Simpsons.
Nice.
They went all out, and these things are like premium $3 to $4 donuts. And my wife used to work in a donut place, so she's a bit of a snob about this.
Uh-huh.
And she admitted these are really good, fluffy donuts. And the most interesting thing about the place is they have their hours are like Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to sell out.
Mm-hmm.
And on Sunday, they're open from 8 a.m. to sell out. They literally close the doors after they sell out of donuts, which is usually somewhere around 11, 12. They don't stay open very long.
Wow.
Once they're out, they're done.
That's cool.
I'm pretty sure they made extras just for Comic-Con, though.
Oh, I'm sure they went crazy. Well, we walked by one evening at about 9, 10 p.m., and there were 2 people already in there mixing donuts for the next day.
Wow. Nuts. Yeah, definitely. If there's anything that could be any test from what you guys are hearing is the fact that like businesses around Comic-Con like make a good amount of money.
Oh, yeah. I mean, San Diego turns into the freaking Watchtower for 5 days, man.
Yeah.
Everything is comic-oriented for just a few days, and take advantage of it. Even if you can't get past to Comic-Con, find friends that are going and, ask to crash in their hotel room. Take a walk around. You might come back with more shit than they do.
Yes. Indeed. Well, thank you, gentlemen. Before we go, Brendan, where can they find you on the internet?
They can find me on DeviantArt at nightar.deviantart.com. They can find me on Twitter at nightar. And they can find me... that's about it, actually.
Okay. Jeremy, where can I find you on the internet?
Oh, shit. They can find me on cosplay.com under the screen name Freight. They can find me at Mission Star Podcast as Freight or Jeremy. We have a weekly comic book podcast called The Rollin' 20s that we're doing, and apparently people are liking for reasons that are way beyond my knowledge. Next time I'm going to be out and about. I'm heading towards Kamikaze. They've accepted my press application.
Sweet. Awesome.
Yep, they accepted mine as well, so.
Oh, that I don't understand at all.
What is this? What is this wizardly? How is that possible? Jesse, where can I find you on the internet?
You can find me hanging around with Jeremy on the Rollin' 20s with you guys.
And occasionally on Chris Hansen's website.
Duly noted.
Oh my.
Duly noted. You can follow me on Twitter at Defective Naruto. You can follow the work that me, Jeremy, Brendan, and Jesse do on the website at missionstartpodcast.com. Be sure to check out our reviews, our previews, our videos, and all that cool shit. In terms of what's coming up, well, we've got a lot of Comic-Con coverage still on the way. I'm especially that video that Brendan has of Jeremy sweating his ass off in the survival.
Well, there's also the time lapse we agreed to with the Prism booth. I'm sure he's working on that. But...
Oh yeah. Well, I gotta get that starting to be rendered. I didn't get Jeremy walking by specifically, running through the thing because I was trying to rest take off my backpack and rest while he ran behind me, not knowing.
Yeah. Actually, I'm more interested in seeing that video that Karen took of me with that walker. I really wonder what the hell happened.
Sorry, I couldn't convince the walkers to back off for a couple seconds while they redid the jog that was just tiring the shit out of me.
You came out of nowhere.
I did get some good video of some walkers, yes, but we were sitting there just kind of wandering and looking around, and we wasn't expecting him for quite some time, and all of a sudden, here he comes.
I give you credit, Jesse. I gave you my camera during that. There's a couple blurry shots of me running by. There's a couple that makes it look like I'm about to shoulder check the guy in front of me.
Dude, I caught you at like the very end, so I tried to snap as many as I could.
That's awesome. And with that, guys, we see you guys next time.
Later.
Hello everyone, this is Anthony Bionis from the Mission Start Podcast, and if you enjoy listening to this podcast, as well as our other ones on our website, you can now hear us on Stitcher. You can now hear our show as well on the go with Stitcher Smart Radio, on-demand news, talk, and more on your mobile phone. The latest episodes are always available for you, no syncing needed, and no money or storage wasted. Available on your iPhone, iPad, Android phones, and beyond. Downloading is easy. Go to Stitcher.com or check out your app store. Stitcher, Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.